To win over the guy she liked, my childhood friend stole my debate notes and gave them to him. As a result, I got crushed in the debate tournament and lost my spot in the study abroad program. Afterward, she brushed it off to other people, saying I just wanted to teach Leo a lesson so he'd stop wanting things he can't have. I stopped hanging around her, slowly fading out of her life. My college applications were the complete opposite of the plans we'd made as kids. But the day I got my acceptance letter, she ran up to me, eyes red, and demanded to know why. I just scoffed. You only need to be taught a lesson about not knowing your place once. Even though I was completely prepared for the debate, my opponents steamrolled me. It was like they knew every move and strategy one had planned. They zeroed in on my weakest points with surgical precision. Worse, they used my private life as ammunition against me. We were utterly defenseless, completely humiliated. My hope of using the tournament to get into the study abroad program was gone. The powerlessness of defeat and the shame of being judged by everyone hit me all at once. I felt like I was suffocating, just like I always did. I hid in an empty corner and texted my friend, Ava, to vent. Ava, I got destroyed in the debate. They wiped the floor with me. I feel awful. She replied almost instantly, Hey, don't worry about it. It was just one competition. Come on back and I'll treat you to a huge dinner. I quickly typed back, I want the most expensive thing on the menu. No problem. Whatever you want, Leo. Order the whole menu if you feel like it. It's on me. Her comforting words eased half the knot in my stomach. After saying goodbye to my teammates, I grabbed my backpack and couldn't wait to leave. All I could think about was how I was going to make Ava spend a fortune on me tonight. I didn't tell her I was coming, planning to surprise her, but as I rounded the corner near her house, I saw her wrapped in the arms of someone I never expected. It was my debate opponent, the school heartthrob, Chase. He had just transferred to our school this semester. He was also the one competing with me for the study abroad spot. A rare, shy look appeared on Ava's face. Chase, I did a lot of homework to make sure you'd win. I even stole Leo's debate notes for you and told you his secret, that he's the chauffeur's illegitimate son. So tell me, how are you going to reward me for this? Chase ruffled her hair, leaned down, and gave her a light, fleeting kiss. All right, I know you're the best. Good thing you told me all that when you did. It's the only reason we won so easily. Is this a good enough reward? Chase pulled Ava into a tight hug, murmuring, of course not, before leaning in again. They kissed deeply, lost in each other. The sight, combined with Ava's words, made my blood boil. I never would have imagined that my opponent's deadliest weapon came from Ava herself. The other day, Ava had suddenly insisted on checking how my debate prep was going. I thought she was just being caring and was happy about it for a long time. I even sent her my materials so she could help me check if my arguments were solid. And she just turned around and handed my notes to Chase. She even told him the secret I'd guarded so carefully my whole life. The pain of being exposed and judged in front of everyone during the competition came rushing back. My fists were clenched so tight my nails dug painfully into my palms. It took everything I had not to charge over there. Instead, I pulled out my phone and sent Ava a text. Ava, where are you? I need to see you. The notification sound made them pull apart. Chase glanced at the message on the screen and chuckled cryptically. So, Leo lost and came running to you for comfort. What are you going to do? The whole school knows he's your most loyal follower. You can't tell me you don't know he has a crush on you. I watched as Ava quickly typed something, then held up her phone to Chase as if showing off. Happy now, Chase? Can you finally be my boyfriend for real? The screen lit up. Ava's reply was short and piercing. With my boyfriend. Do not disturb. Chase was beaming, clearly pleased. He teased her, saying, Aren't you being a little harsh on Leo? Aren't you worried he'll make trouble when he finds out the truth? Ava let out a scoff. Leo is just a chauffeur's son. His dad still works for my family to make a living. As for the rumors about us at school, I was just too lazy to clear them up before. But now I have to be loyal to you. This time it was just to teach him a lesson so he'll learn not to want things that don't belong to him. Chase casually followed up. So if I have a problem with him in the future, you won't stick up for him? A smile curled on Ava's lips. Of course not. I can't describe how I felt on the way home. As soon as I walked in the door, my dad came up to me, his face full of concern. "Leo, you're home. Why do you look so pale? Are you feeling sick? Or are you hungry? Just wait, dinner's still warm. I'll get it for you. Mrs. Reed gave me a rotisserie chicken today. Said it was from some Michelin star chef. You should try it." Watching my dad bustle around, seeing the white hair at his temples, I wanted to say something but couldn't. To keep him from worrying, I didn't tell him what happened. Ava was right about one thing. My family did depend on hers to get by. My biological mother ran off with another man before I was even born. My relatives said my dad's health wasn't good to begin with, and since he was getting older, I'd probably be his only child. Against my grandparents' wishes, my dad insisted on raising me by himself. From the day I was born until I was old enough to remember, I was surrounded by labels like illegitimate child and the bastard his mom didn't want. To get me away from the gossip, my dad moved us to the city. He didn't have much education, but a kind person helped him get a job as a driver for the Reed family. My dad was quick, hardworking, and discreet. Mrs. Reed was very happy with him, and he's been their driver for 10 years now. After learning about our situation, the Reeds were very kind to me, too. Ava and I grew up together, and she treated me like a normal friend. When it was time for middle school, Mrs. Reed arranged for me to go to the same school as her. One time, my dad went to a parent-teacher conference. When my classmates found out my dad was a chauffeur, they started making fun of me and bullying me. One day after school, a few of them tricked me into going to a storage closet. They shoved me in and locked the door. My grandparents used to lock me in a dark room as a kid, so I have severe claustrophobia. I was trapped in that closet until midnight. I was cold, hungry, and so weak I could barely move. It was pitch black and terrifyingly quiet. Just when I was about to lose hope, Ava kicked the door open, silhouetted against the light. That night, she led me out of the darkness. The next day, she stood in front of the whole class and announced, "Leo is my best friend. If you bully him, you're picking a fight with me, Ava Reed." The Reed family was very influential in the city. A lot of the kids' families did business with them. They didn't dare cross Ava, and after that, they left me alone. To this day, I still remember her soft words of comfort that night. "Leo, if anyone bullies you from now on, just tell me. I'll beat them up for you. We're going to go to the same college and always be together. As long as I'm here, no one will ever be able to bully you again." Her words were like a savior's promise, a heavenly sound. Under the cover of moonlight, a young boy's crush grew wildly. From then on, to close the gap between me and Ava, I worked relentlessly to improve my grades and skills at school. The funny thing is, all my hard work went up in smoke the moment Chase showed up. With his handsome face, Chase captured the hearts of countless girls as soon as he arrived. I never thought Ava would fall for him, too. And to make him happy, she was willing to sacrifice me. The person who once promised to always protect me had now become the one who hurt me the most. I didn't sleep at all that night, my eyes open until dawn. Ava and Chase's conversation kept replaying in my head. Their undisguised contempt and disgust were like a knife stabbing straight into my heart. The pain was so sharp it woke me up completely. It was time for me to get out of Ava's world. The next day, I didn't wait for Ava and took the bus to school by myself. I ran into her at the school gate just as she was getting out of her car. When she saw me, she ran over and greeted me like nothing had happened. "Leo, why didn't you wait for me today? Why didn't you take our car?" If I hadn't heard her conversation with Chase and gotten that text yesterday, her casual act would have made me feel guilty, just like it always did. I forced a small smile. "Ava, you have a boyfriend now, don't you? We should probably keep our distance." I wouldn't want him to get the wrong idea. Hearing the word boyfriend, Ava seemed to get it. She clapped me on the shoulder enthusiastically, shrugged, and smiled. "Oh, you mean Chase? Yeah, we're together. But there's a reason for it. I'll explain everything later. Anyway, don't worry. Even if I have a boyfriend, you're still my most important friend. Don't overthink it." I didn't respond and just kept walking. But Ava clearly wasn't used to my silence. She tilted her head, confused, and grabbed my arm. Leo, are you mad because you lost the competition yesterday and I didn't comfort you right away? I frowned and was about to pull my arm away when a strong force shoved me aside. Chase wrapped his arm tightly around Ava's shoulder, looking at me with a possessive glare. Leo, Ava is my girlfriend. What does it look like, you getting all handsy with her at school? I gave him a baffled look. Chase, I didn't realize you were blind. Did you not see Ava grabbing me just now? Do me a favor and stay away from me from now on. Both of you. I don't have time for your little high school drama. With that, I turned and walked away. Ava took a couple of steps forward, looking like she wanted to say something else, but Chase held her back. Losing the study abroad opportunity meant I was missing a major advantage on my college applications. With my current grades, I'd need to raise my score by at least 30 points to have a shot at my dream school. Right now, all I could think about was where I was going to find those 30 points. I really didn't have the time or energy to deal with them, but Chase and Ava didn't get the message. In the past, Ava and I were inseparable, and everyone assumed we'd end up together. Thanks to some carefully crafted rumors by Chase, the news that Ava and I had a falling out spread through the school. Many students thought I was just bitter because she didn't like me back. The way they looked at me was now filled with gossip and judgment. Chase was already popular because of his looks, and he had a lot of fans. When they heard I might have a grudge against him because of Ava, they started to ostracize me. They looked for any opportunity to teach me a lesson, to put me in my place. Glue on my chair, bugs in my thermos, my homework covered in graffiti, nasty notes taped to my back, love letters written in my name to every girl in the class. Within a few days, I became a freak everyone looked down on. Ava saw all of it, but she just looked the other way. Eventually, I moved my desk to a corner of the classroom, no longer sitting next to her. Only then did the daily pranks start to die down. After becoming a loner, my life became a simple routine of home and school, studying in silence. Other than asking teachers questions, I barely spoke to anyone at school. All the lonely hours I endured paid off in my academic rankings. On the first monthly exam of senior year, I got my best scores ever. 3rd in my class, 7th in our grade. I became the poster child for the most improved student, the dark horse everyone was talking about. I thought if I just kept my head down, I could avoid trouble. But what happened next proved how naive I was. Saturday was Mrs. Reed's birthday. Unlike previous years, the Reeds threw a huge party for her. They invited a lot of business partners and important people. My dad and the other staff were swamped, so I spent the day helping out in the kitchen. Ava brought Chase with her. She formally introduced him to her parents' friends. Mrs. Reed was especially fond of Chase. She held his hand affectionately and made small talk with him the whole time. Even Mr. Reed, who was usually so serious, was all smiles with him. When Chase saw me bustling around in a waiter's uniform, he looked at Mrs. Reed with mock surprise. Hey, isn't that Leo from our class? What's he doing here? No wonder everyone used to say Leo and Ava were childhood friends and super close. I guess I'm finally seeing it for myself. Chase's words made Mrs. Reed's face freeze. She shot me a displeased look and explained with a forced smile. Oh, Leo? He's the son of our driver, Mr. Dawson. He's just helping out today since we're so busy. He and Ava aren't exactly childhood sweethearts. Honestly, you and Ava look so much better together. To make sure Chase didn't get the wrong idea, Mrs. Reed turned to me with a cold expression. Leo, you can just stay in the kitchen. There's no need to come out to the main hall. We wouldn't want you to bother the guests. Seeing Mrs. Reed, who had always been so kind to me, change her tune so dramatically, I scoffed inwardly, nodded obediently, and quietly slipped away. Ava opened her mouth as if to explain, but under her mother's warning glare, she didn't say a word. Mrs. Reed's coldness clearly put Chase at ease. To help them get closer, Mrs. Reed told Ava to take Chase up to her room to hang out. Just when I thought the day would pass without any more drama, something unexpected happened. Mrs. Reed had someone summon me to the main hall. When I saw the notebook Chase was holding, my stomach dropped. Chase's eyes were red as he spoke to the crowd. His voice choked with emotion. Leo, I can't believe you're so manipulative. You knew Ava had a boyfriend, yet you wrote this diary full of romantic confessions for her to see. You have no shame. His words were like a stone thrown into a calm lake, sending ripples through the crowd. Mrs. Reed took the notebook, flipped through a few pages, then handed it to Mr. Reed. She was shaking with anger, clutching her chest, her finger trembling as she pointed at me. Leo, I want you to ask yourself, has our family not been good enough to you and your father? How could you have such disgraceful thoughts? I am so disappointed in you. After looking through it, Mr. Reed's face was also filled with disapproval. Everyone there was a person of status and social standing. The Reed's clear stance sealed my fate. I was the driver's son who had no shame, who dared to dream of climbing the social ladder by pursuing the master's daughter. I stood there helplessly in my waiter's uniform, under the watchful eyes of everyone. I was being judged from every angle. The notebook was my diary, where I'd written about my secret crush on Ava. One time, while I was writing in it, Ava caught me red-handed. She snatched the diary, and after reading it, she smiled with satisfaction. But she didn't give it back. Instead, she said, Leo, once we get into the same college, we can be together. I'll hold on to your confession for now. And now, Chase had brought that same diary out into the open. The secret I had tried so hard to hide was being exposed in front of everyone. Whispers and murmurs rose from all around. I felt as exposed and humiliated as if I'd been stripped naked and publicly shamed. My dad heard the commotion and rushed over, shielding me behind him. He kept bowing and apologizing nervously to Mr. and Mrs. Reed. I'm so sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Reed. Leo doesn't know any better. It's all my fault as his father. If you have a problem, take it out on me. Whatever punishment you want to give, I'll accept it. Seeing my dad so humiliated, my heart felt like it was being eaten by a million tiny ants. Fighting back tears, I lowered my head and apologized alongside my father. Sir, ma'am, it was all my fault. I'm so sorry for all the trouble I've caused you. Seeing us groveling like that, a smile finally appeared on Chase's face. In front of everyone, Mrs. Reed announced that they could not tolerate someone with impure intentions around their daughter. Ava's future husband had to be someone like Chase, from a family of equal standing. Ava, one of the main people involved, said nothing the entire time. My dad and I were kicked out of the Reed house on the spot. When we got back to our rented apartment, I looked at my dad with red eyes and apologized. Dad, it's all my fault. I made you lose your job. But my dad didn't blame me. He sighed and pulled me into a hug. Silly boy, how could this be your fault? If anyone's to blame, it's me for not being able to give you a better life. I can tell you haven't been happy lately. You don't talk about Ava all the time like you used to. Our families are from different worlds. With the way the Reeds acted, even if you did end up with Ava, you would have suffered. It's better that we're out of there now. You won't have to force yourself to go to their house for my sake anymore. My dad's words were like a warm spring in winter, washing away all my guilt. After that, I focused even more on my studies and my grades stabilized. Whenever I saw Ava and Chase at school, I would deliberately go the other way. Several times, Ava tried to talk to me, but I always managed to avoid her. My dad also found a new way to make money. He started a food cart. He's a great cook and knows how to make a lot of specialties from our hometown. After getting his food and health permits, he set up his cart at the night market. It quickly attracted a lot of customers. Many people became regulars after just a few visits, constantly recommending our cart to their friends and family. Mrs. Gable was one of them. I'd see her 3 or 4 times a week. She said she'd been away from her hometown for too long. Now that she'd finally found an authentic taste of home, she didn't want to miss it. The food cart got more and more popular, and my dad was often too busy to handle it alone. Whenever I had free time after school, I would go and help him. One day after school, I was working at the cart as usual when I looked up and saw Chase with his arm around Ava, walking into the night market. Behind them was Chase's crew of buddies. When they got to our cart, Chase shot me a smug grin. He sat down with Ava and his friends and yelled at me, "Hey you, get us 10 of your signature dishes. And make it quick. We're waiting." No matter what issues I had with them, When you're running a business, you greet customers with a smile. I put on a smile and asked politely, "Do any of you have any dietary restrictions? Cilantro, onions, garlic? How spicy would you like it?" Chase just waved his hand dismissively. "Just make it the way you normally do. We're just here to see if your food is any good." After the food arrived, Chase poked at it with his chopsticks, took one bite of a flatbread, and then spit it out on the ground. He was clearly looking for a fight. "Hey owner, what is this garbage you're serving? I can tell just from one bite that these ingredients aren't fresh. Are you going to take responsibility if we get sick from this?" A lot of the customers at the cart today were new. Hearing Chase, many of them put down the food they were about to order. A crowd started to gather. Food safety is a huge deal for everyone. If this wasn't handled well, word could spread, and we might not be able to keep our cart open. I knew Chase was just trying to cause trouble. I looked at him calmly. All of our ingredients are bought fresh every day. We never use leftovers from the day before. If you think it's not fresh, then please show us a doctor's note proving you got sick from our food. Chase laughed like he'd just heard the world's greatest joke. So the fact that it tastes bad isn't evidence enough? I have to eat the whole thing and end up in the hospital for you to believe me? Is this how you do business? You only admit there's a problem after a customer gets sick? He was relentless. I clenched my fists and asked in a low voice, "Then what do you want me to do to prove our food is fine?" Chase blinked, then pointed at the piece of flatbread on the ground. "If you dare to pick that up and eat it, I'll believe there's nothing wrong with your food." His words caused a wave of murmurs through the crowd. A few people even took out their phones to record the drama. Making him eat something off the ground? Isn't that a bit much? Maybe they have some history, and he's just here to start trouble? The kid and the owner seem nice enough. Do you think he'll actually pick it up and eat it? Probably not. It's on the ground. That's disgusting. Yeah, kids these days are so picky. No way. My dad didn't want to make a big scene. He bowed to Chase and his friends and pleaded in a low voice, "Eva, how about this? I'll cover your meal today. It's on me. Okay? It's fallen on the ground, and there are a lot of germs. Please don't make Leo eat it." Eva hesitated for a moment, then looked at Chase. "Chase, Leo and his dad are just trying to make a living. Maybe we should just let it go?" Chase crossed his arms and lifted his chin defiantly. "Why should I let it go? No way. Eva, don't tell me you've still got a soft spot for him?" Eva quickly shook her head and said soothingly, "Of course not. I just don't want some nobody to ruin your good mood." Chase's friends started to jeer. "Hey, are you gonna eat it or not? Or is there actually something wrong with your food and you're just scared? Yeah, if you won't even eat your own food, why should anyone else? Are you eating it or not? If not, we're out of here, and we'll be sure to spread the word online for you." Chase stared at me with a challenging look. Eva just stood by, her face blank. Rage welled up inside me. Fighting back tears, I yelled, "Fine. I'll eat it. I'll eat it right now." I bent down, picked up the flatbread, and rinsed the dirt off with some water. Just as I was about to put it in my mouth, a firm, elderly voice called out from behind me, "Leo, wait." I turned to see Mrs. Gable and a few of her friends. Mrs. Gable knocked the flatbread out of my hand. She gently wiped the tears from the corner of my eye. Then, she tapped her cane on the ground and looked sternly at Chase and Ava's group. "Young man, you don't look very old. How can you be so merciless? My friends and I eat at Leo's cart almost every day. There is nothing wrong with their food. We can all vouch for that. If you don't believe us, you can ask the other vendors around here. They'll tell you it's the truth." Mrs. Gable was a regular at the night market. Every vendor knew her. Seeing this, other vendors also came forward to speak up for us. As the commotion grew, people started to talk about Chase. He started to look uncomfortable and retorted, "How do I know you're not all in on it together? Maybe they're paying you to say this." I looked at him coldly, my voice devoid of any warmth. "Then why don't we call the police and check the security cameras to see who's really causing trouble?" I took out my phone to call the police, but he slapped it out of my hand and onto the ground. Chase's eyes darted around nervously. "Don't call the police. At that point, it was pretty clear to everyone who was in the right and who was in the wrong. He grabbed Ava and tried to leave, but Mrs. Gable blocked their path with her cane. She said patiently, "Young man, since you won't call the police, it means you're admitting to falsely accusing this vendor. You can't just leave. You have to apologize to Leo and his father and clear their names before you go." Chase was already on edge. Mrs. Gable's words were the last straw. He shoved her with his hand, yelling, "Get out of my way, you old hag," and ran off. Mrs. Gable fell to the ground, cane and all. I rushed over to check on her while my dad called 911. We left the cart and went with the ambulance to the hospital. Thankfully, Mrs. Gable only had a minor fracture in her leg and some scrapes. No other serious injuries. Mrs. Gable and her daughter both insisted it wasn't my fault and that they didn't blame me. But thinking about my dad begging them and Mrs. Gable getting hurt because of me made my blood boil. By the time we got back from the hospital, closed up the cart, and went home, it was the middle of the night. When we got to our apartment building, an unexpected visitor was waiting for us. When Ava saw me, she shifted her weight nervously. It looked like she'd been waiting there all night. She rushed forward to block my path, her voice urgent. "Leo, you have to listen to me. You really pissed Chase off today. He's holding a grudge against you now. Tomorrow at school, you need to apologize to him first thing. Whatever he says, don't argue with him. Otherwise, even I won't be able to protect you. This is serious. Do you understand?" "Ik leerte her." "Ava, I thought you were just blinded by Chase. I didn't realize you'd become his lapdog. This isn't the dark ages. No matter how powerful Chase is, he's not above the law. Besides, since when have you ever protected me since he showed up? I was already exhausted from dealing with them earlier. I didn't have the energy to argue with her. I just walked around her and hurried on." From behind me, I heard Ava's desperate shout. "Chase said he's going to make you pay tomorrow at school. His family has connections, Leo. Don't mess with him. Don't fight a battle you can't win." The old apartment complex was quiet at night, and Ava's voice was piercing. Knowing Chase's personality, I was sure he wouldn't let this go. Did having a powerful family mean you could bully people however you wanted? First, he used dirty tricks to steal my study abroad spot, and then he caused a scene at our food cart. Was he going to try to get me expelled now? Who did he think he was? Remembering the conversation I'd overheard between Mrs. Gable and her daughter outside the hospital room, an idea began to form in my mind. The next day, as soon as I walked onto campus, I heard students talking. The story about Chase causing a scene at the night market and pushing an old woman had been reported to the school. Several people who were there that night had called the dean's office to complain. Under public pressure, the school administration issued a public warning to Chase and his friends overnight. The disciplinary notice was posted on the school's bulletin board and online forum, but for Chase, a punishment like that was nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Just as I expected, I had barely sat down in my classroom when Chase and his crew swaggered over to me, full of threats. "Leo, I have to admit you've got some moves. Getting the school to give me a warning. But since you don't know when to quit, don't blame me for what happens next. Don't even think about running off after school today. You and I are going to settle this." Behind him, Ava kept trying to catch my eye, signaling for me to apologize to Chase. But I didn't budge. I just smiled back at him calmly. "Sure, let's see who runs." When the final bell rang for lunch, I stayed in my seat. After the other students had left, Chase and his group, with Ava in tow, stormed into the classroom. On his signal, two of them unplugged the security camera. With no cameras watching, Chase felt completely unrestrained. He had his friends hold me down while he started slapping me across the face, asking over and over, "Had enough? Leo? Still think you can mess with me?" After about a dozen slaps, my face was swollen and red. I could taste blood in my mouth, but I clenched my teeth and shouted back, "Never. Chase, why are you so obsessed with bullying me?" Chase poked me hard in the forehead with his finger and sneered, "What? Do I need a special reason to hit you when I feel like it? But since you asked, I might as well let you know why you're in so much pain." What Chase said next shocked me. I couldn't believe his grudge against me started over something so small. At the beginning of the year, during the vote for school heartthrob, someone commented on the school forum that I was better looking than Chase. That comment got a lot of likes and became the top reply. Chase saw it and was pissed. On top of that, Ava and I were still close back then. Ava was one of the prettiest girls in school. From the moment Chase arrived, he was interested in her. But at first, Ava wasn't really responsive to his advances. Then suddenly, things changed. It was like Ava became a different person, suddenly willing to do anything Chase wanted. Chase was used to getting whatever he wanted. Even after he and Ava got together, he still blamed me for his initial frustrations at the new school. He hated my guts. It seemed like the only way he could feel better was by making my life miserable. I couldn't understand his twisted, sick way of thinking. By now, my face was swollen like a balloon. Maybe I was imagining it, but I thought I saw a flicker of pity in Ava's eyes. She held onto Chase's arm, stroking it gently, and said casually, "Chase, look at him. He's a pathetic mess. It's making me sick. Maybe you've taught him enough of a lesson for now? I'm afraid I'll lose my appetite for lunch." Chase wiped his hands on a napkin and threw it in my face. He said, as if granting a huge favor, "Fine. Let's leave it at that for now. I'm hungry too. Let's go, guys. Lunch is on me. As for Leo, let's just throw him in the storage closet. Didn't you say he's claustrophobic? I've never seen someone have an attack like that. Today seems like a good day to learn something new." Ava's face froze. She hesitated. "Chase, I don't think that's a good idea. What if something really bad happens?" "I'm afraid." Before she could finish, Chase cut her off. He looked annoyed. "What's there to be afraid of? What could happen? Don't tell me you're getting soft again. Don't forget, it was you who came crawling back to me, begging me to be with you." Ava immediately shook her head. She looked as shocked as if she'd heard something unbelievable. "How could I be soft? Don't get the wrong idea, Chase. I'm just worried that if something happens, it will reflect badly on you." Seeing that they were done talking, Chase's friends quickly dragged me to the storage closet by the stairs. After a brief struggle, the door was locked from the outside. No one came to let me out before classes started again in the afternoon. The storage closet had 4 solid walls and no windows. The only light bulb was broken and hadn't been fixed. Once the door was closed, it was a completely sealed, dark room. Nearly 2 hours of agonizing confinement. By now, I was drenched in a cold sweat, my face was pale, and I was slumped on the floor, too weak to move. I glanced at my phone screen. It was time. With the last of my strength, I made a call. "Hello, I'm in the storage closet in the main building. Please, help me." I passed out before I could finish the sentence. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital room. My dad was there, wiping away tears. "Leo, you're finally awake. You scared me half to death. Are you feeling okay? Does anything hurt?" I managed a weak smile. "Dad, do you know who brought me to the hospital?" My dad kept wringing his hands, his eyes welling up with tears. "It was Mrs. Gable's daughter. She's the one who brought you here. She called me and that's when I found out what happened at school." "Oh, my boy. Why didn't you tell me you were being bullied so badly at school? It's all my fault. I'm not successful enough, and that's why people treat you like this." I weakly lifted my hand to wipe his tears. "Dad, don't worry," I said softly. "I promise after today, no one will ever dare to bully me again." Just then, the hospital room door opened. Ms. Gable walked in, followed by the school principal and a few other administrators. She looked at me with concern. "Leo, do you remember who hit you and locked you in the storage closet? Don't be afraid. Just tell me everything you know. I will make sure you get justice." I silently pulled my phone out of my pocket and played the recording of the incident for all of them to hear. After listening to the recording, Ms. Gable's brow furrowed, and her expression turned serious. I pinched my thigh hard, where no one could see, and looked at her with teary eyes. "Ms. Gable, this isn't the first time they've bullied me. Can you please help me? Everyone says Chase's family is powerful and that I can't win against them. But I'm so scared it will happen again." She turned to the principal and the others standing behind her. "Is this what you call a safe and civilized school environment? To have students who are so brazenly out of control is unbelievable. Your failure to identify and address these problem students is a serious dereliction of your duties as administrators. I want the relevant departments to investigate this immediately. We cannot allow this kind of thuggery to tarnish our schools. The principal and the other leaders wiped sweat from their foreheads, trembling, and said in unison, "Yes, we'll get on it right away. We'll launch a special investigation immediately." Seeing all this, I knew my gamble had paid off. That's right. I had deliberately provoked Chase into attacking me. The day before, outside Mrs. Gable's hospital room, I overheard that her daughter, Miss Gable, was the newly appointed head of our city's education system. Her top priority was to create harmonious school environments and reduce bullying incidents. When she found out that students from our school had caused her mother's injury, Ms. Gable had changed her schedule to conduct a surprise inspection of our school the next afternoon. I knew that a simple complaint wouldn't be taken seriously. I had to put myself in the middle of it. So I timed it perfectly for her inspection. I chose to confront Chase and his friends at lunchtime. Then, right when Ms. Gable was scheduled to arrive at the school, I called her for help. When she saw me, battered and bruised, with her own eyes, the school officials who were with her couldn't cover it up even if they wanted to. As a student with no power, it was the most direct way I could think of to take down Chase and his crew. And it worked. I was in the hospital for a week before I returned to school. Thanks to Ms. Gable's swift and decisive intervention, everything at school had changed. After a thorough investigation, Chase, as the ringleader of the bullying, was expelled. Because he was over 16, the charge of intentional assault was upheld. Chase was sent to a juvenile detention center for re-education. His family spent a fortune trying to get him out, but they failed. As the special task force dug deeper, they uncovered evidence of his family's involvement in organized crime and money laundering. Chase's powerful father and several of his uncles were all arrested. Within days, the family's influence in the city was completely wiped out. Ava and the others were found to be accomplices, coerced and instigated by Chase. They were given a major demerit, with a warning that any future offense would result in expulsion. When the announcement was made, the school was buzzing. All the students who had been bullied by Chase and his gang were cheering. As soon as I got back to my classroom, Ava found me. She looked worn out, with dark circles and bags under her eyes. She was a shadow of her former, vibrant self. "Leo, you're back. Can we talk for a minute?" Ava then gave me a long explanation for her behavior. She had once told her parents at the dinner table that she liked me. She even told them her plan for us to get together after we got into college. But both Mr. and Mrs. Reed were against it. No matter how much Ava pleaded, they wouldn't agree. The reason was that the Reed family business was facing an unprecedented crisis. They had to find a way to survive. Otherwise, the family might never recover. Chase's family was a long-standing powerhouse in the city, with extensive connections and immense resources. They were the best lifeline Mrs. Reed could find. After learning that Chase had just transferred to our school, Mrs. Reed came up with the idea of having Ava try to date him. She wanted to use their relationship to get an introduction to Chase's powerful father. Mrs. Reed made Ava a promise. If she could help the family overcome this crisis by pursuing Chase, they would no longer object to her being with me in the future. At first, Ava refused and strongly opposed her mother's plan. She thought it was absurd. But day after day, she watched her parents run themselves ragged trying to save the family business. Her father would come home and pass out on the sofa, too tired to even eat dinner. Her mother, who had always been so elegant, was starting to get gray hair and wrinkles. Ava's heart was moved. To make things easier for her parents, she started to show interest in Chase. Chase already had a thing for Ava. The two of them started dating very quickly. Chase wasn't a deep thinker. After Ava flattered him and whispered in his ear a few times, he immediately set up a meeting between her father and his. After several dinner meetings, the two families established a business alliance, sealed by the happiness of their children. With the help of Chase's family, the Reed's business started to recover. Unfortunately, Chase had been spoiled his whole life and had a domineering personality. When Ava tried to gently break up with him, he flat out refused. After realizing that I was probably the reason Ava wanted to break up with him, Chase started to plot his revenge against me. The debate tournament was his first move. Chase used the Reed family business as leverage, demanding that Ava prove her loyalty to him during the tournament. With no other choice, Ava made up an excuse to get my debate notes and gave them to Chase, along with the secret that I was born out of wedlock. Winning the debate made Chase trust Ava even more. He became even more possessive of her. Whenever he sensed that Ava was pulling away, he would find a way to punish me to force her back in line. A few times, when Ava was angry during an argument with Chase, she told him that he had a worse temper than I did. This reminded Chase of how I had outshone him when he first arrived, and his frustration boiled over. Without a second thought, Chase gathered his friends and forced Ava to watch as they taught me a lesson. To prevent Chase from coming after me again, Ava had to play along. She stopped mentioning my name and said all sorts of things she didn't mean. She stood by and watched as Chase's friends played pranks on me. She made a big show of cutting ties with me for Chase's benefit. But she never expected Chase to find my diary at her mother's birthday party. When Chase made a scene, she didn't dare to stop him. She knew that the more she showed she cared about me, the more viciously Chase would retaliate. So she forced herself to stay away from me, hoping to shield me from his insane rage. The incident at the night market was actually an accident. Ava had wanted to persuade me to just suck up to Chase. She thought that if I could just make him happy, he would stop tormenting me. She had no idea that Mrs. Gable was connected to the new head of the education system. Ms. Gable called the school administration that night and pressured them to deal with the students who had caused the trouble. As the son of the all-powerful Chase family, it was the first time he had been publicly humiliated at school. His retaliation was as arrogant and brutal as his personality. Ava knew she couldn't stop Chase from attacking me. She had planned to sneak away and unlock the storage closet when Chase and his friends weren't looking. But Ms. Gable got there first. Listening to Ava's story, I felt a mix of emotions. She looked at me with pleading eyes. Leo, the Chase family is gone, and Chase is in juvie. No one will ever hurt you again. My parents don't object to us being together anymore. Can we get back together, please? The college entrance exams are coming up soon. As long as we get into the same university, no one can stop us from being together. Looking at her, for a fleeting moment, I saw the girl who had rescued me from the darkness all those years ago. But some things, once they change, can never go back. I didn't give her a clear answer, only one sentence. Let's see if you can get in first. Those words seemed to give her a strange sense of hope. Ava threw herself into her studies. On the last 2 practice exams, her scores were nearly identical to mine. After the final exams, I graduated first in our school and third in the entire city. I listed a university in Boston as my first choice. The day I got my acceptance letter, Ava ran to my apartment building. She excitedly waved her own acceptance letter at me. Leo, I got in. You got your letter too, right? I'm so happy. We can finally go to college together. I just looked at her calmly, saying nothing. Ava was completely bewildered. She took my acceptance letter from my hand and glanced at it. Her eyes instantly turned red. Leo, didn't we promise when we were kids that we would never be apart? You told me to study hard, that you'd give me a chance if I got in. How could you go back on your word? I snatched my letter back from her, my gaze cold and emotionless. Don't flatter yourself, Ava. I only said that to get you to focus on your exams. The last thing I wanted was for you to one day blame me for failing because I distracted you. The moment you used me as a stepping stone to suck up to Chase during the debate tournament, any chance between us was gone. Don't tell me everything you did was for my own good. At best, it was a calculated move to save your family's business. If you truly cared about me, you wouldn't have let Chase hurt me over and over again. And you never would have told him my most shameful secret. Even without Chase, the next time your family faced a crisis, you would have thrown me away like a sacrifice all over again. I've learned my lesson about not knowing my place. Once was enough. Don't bother me again. Ava was stunned into silence, just standing there, frozen. I chose to study law because I wanted to explore the true meaning of fairness and justice. I wanted to arm myself with better weapons and more effective methods to solve problems, so that in the future, there would be fewer naive kids like me who don't know how to fight back. Before I left for college, Mrs. Gable and Ms. Gable came to see me off. Ms. Gable patted my shoulder earnestly. "Leo, the road is long and difficult, but if you keep walking, you will reach your destination. I believe in you. Keep going." For years later, I returned home and, as I had hoped, became a prosecutor for the city. Every day, I walk in the light of sunshine and justice. I heard news of Ava again at a high school reunion. Not long after graduation, the Reed family's business collapsed. It turned out that all the help from Chase's family had been a setup. It looked good at first, but it was really a bottomless pit. To cover the financial holes, Mrs. Reed tried the same trick again. She had Ava start dating the son of another wealthy family in the city. Ava used the same tactics on him that she had used on Chase. She quickly got together with the rich kid. To prove her loyalty to him, Ava signed a series of prenuptial agreements. The agreements stated that if Ava was unfaithful or initiated a divorce, all assets in her name would go to him. Looking at the list of wedding gifts, Ava really thought she had hit the jackpot. But less than 2 weeks after the wedding, the promised investment from his family never came. The wedding gifts were never transferred to the Reed family as promised. Only then did the Reeds realize they had been expertly played. The whole elaborate wedding was just a scheme to take over their company. The shock caused both Mr. and Mrs. Reed to have strokes, and they were hospitalized. As for Ava, she was trapped. If she divorced, she would lose everything. If she didn't, she would have to watch her family's company be picked apart. With nowhere to turn, Ava started drinking heavily, giving up on herself completely. She came home drunk every night. The new husband had also done his homework on Ava's past and knew everything. He couldn't stand her self-destructive behavior. He would constantly tell her that she deserved it. He said her current situation was karma for sucking up to Chase and betraying me. His words were a constant torment to her. One night, she couldn't take it anymore and drove to the coast to clear her head. But she was still drunk, and in a daze, she hit the gas instead of the brake. She drove herself straight into the ocean and drowned. The classmates who knew the story shivered as they described the grim state of her body when it was recovered. Someone who loved gossip asked me what I thought about it. I just smiled. I'm looking forward. For me, every step forward now is filled with sunlight and strength.